Each Other is a podcast about the importance of human interaction. It provides reminders that we are not intended to live in isolation. Human beings need each other. The things about another that pisses you off and the things that take you over the moon are all opportunities to see through another's eyes, recognize their intrinsic value, and then look more deeply within ourselves to find the love that's always there. Yes, that's correct. This podcast is called We Need Each Other. And I find that it applies to just simply everything in life that I talk about and that other people talk about. I hear that term coming out of people's mouths. Well, we need each other all the time. We, especially in the times that we're living in right now in this pandemic, need what this woman provides. My guest today is Sonia Jackson. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Sonia Jackson, after graduating from Chapman University in Orange, California, with a BA in sociology, Sonia entered into the corporate world in human resources, working in the banking, technology, and aerospace industry. Anybody who knows Sonia right now today goes, huh? About that, because I can't even picture it. She switched to the entertainment world, starting as a comedian, for the joy of it all. Sonia has since established herself as an actress, added playwright and author, and is expanding in so many ways. She has given herself the title of creatist. All of this has been possible because Sonia has been on a spiritual path since birth and has used the power of prayer and the gift of creative expression to guide her. I am very, very happy to welcome you to this podcast today, Sonia Jackson. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. And hearing that, I even feel like I'm even more than I had imagined.
Somebody. Yeah, and she's all that in a bag of chips, honestly. I say that because I have known Sonia for at least 30 years. Mm-hmm. We go back. We met through Agape International Spiritual Center. Those of you who are aware of Agape, founded and headed by Michael Bernard Beckwith. And Sonia and I sang in choir together up until a couple of years ago. Oh. Yeah. And, I've gotten to know her, really have gotten to know her since I've been back. I moved away from Los Angeles for 15 years and have been back for a little more than 10. And when I first came back, we just became closer and closer and closer and closer. And I know this woman and I have seen her work, and you must too. Mm-hmm. So I have her here because she is doing one of her pieces now through online. It's going to be live stream, not through Zoom, but online, which is a new format for you, huh, Sonia?
Oh, yeah. I always wanted to be on television and do movies.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
And have my own stuff.
Right. But now she's doing it with her own product.
Yeah.
And honest to God, I'm speaking from experience because I've seen I've seen Sonia in other plays and her own performances many times since I've been back, and she is a phenomenal actor. I can't say enough about you. She's that person that will, number one, when she's on stage in somebody else's production, my eyes are always on you, Sonia. I don't care who's on the stage. You draw my eye, not because I know you, but because that's the power of your acting ability. And she can be very serious and bring tears to your eyes, and she can be so hilarious that you cannot stop laughing. So we want to talk about what she's doing live streaming this time, which is her latest project.
It's the latest that's completed now.
Completed, yeah. Yes.
Mamaisms.
It's called Mamaisms. Mm-hmm. Tell us about Mamaisms.
Mamaisms. Old-fashioned wisdom for a new generation.
There we go. Mm-hmm.
So it's about all of the things that all of our mamas, in whatever form they are actual mamas or our surrogate mamas or our mama figures, told us to help raise us. It's those things that they said to us that were most often, I consider them to be shortcuts. They were shortcuts to telling the whole story. So, you know, the respectful side of things, what they were teaching us to be respectful was, don't you talk back to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't really one of those things where you say, don't talk back to me because blah, blah, blah.
Right, right,
Don't
right.
say these kinds of things. They didn't have time for all that. It was just,
Yeah.
don't you talk back to me, or don't you use that tone of voice, or,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was they said to us to help
I
us.
brought you in this world and I'll take you out.
Mm-hmm. You know,
That'll make you stop and listen.
stop movement, listen, everything. You'd stop everything.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. How did this come to be for you, Mamaisms?
Well, I have always been a people watcher. So
Mm-hmm.
I have watched people since I was a little kid, and in school, when I didn't have to go to school in the summer, I lived not too far from the museums in LA. The the Natural History Museum, the Science Museum, the all of the museums up in Exposition Park, and I used to go to the museums in the summer and just watch people, watch
Mm-hmm.
families, watch children, and go to the mall, watch people, just watch people. It was better than television. And since I didn't have kids this time around in my life, stories about children and of what we needed to know, what we as children needed to know. Because I can remember being a child. I can remember back to
Mm-hmm.
being 3 years old, and I can remember saying certain things to myself, like, I'm not going to do that to my children.
Yeah. Oh, we all said that.
We all said that, and some parents did it anyway. But
Right. Oh,
I,
yeah.
I was always fascinated with it, and so I just had things to say, and since I didn't have kids, I, was putting it in a story to tell. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where Mamaisms came. I would say partially it came to honor my mother because my mother taught me a lot of things and she wasn't around that long. And I realized that because she wasn't around that long. And there are things that I think about my mom all the time. I think about my mom all during the day because of
Mm-hmm.
what she taught me. And sometimes I have conversations with her because it helps guide me as to what I should be doing now, things like that. But and I would say I put it together mostly to honor my mother and honor what she taught me and to pass on some of the things that I might have passed on as a mom had I been a mom. But I passed them on to my friends' kids in a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm. And you, not just your friends' kids, but you did volunteer work with children also, right?
Yeah, I actually ran the nursery at the church I grew up in since when I was 13 years old till I went to college. So, and I've been a mentor since I was in my 20s, off and on with different groups. And I've always worked, I taught ballet to
Mm.
3 to 5 year olds and 6 to 10 year olds, so as much ballet as you can teach to a 3 year old. And the biggest thing for me about that was I had mothers lying about their children's age to get them in my class.
Oh, that's a good
And
thing.
I thought, oh wow, that's such a compliment.
That's how good you were.
It was
So,
great.
Mamaisms, man, I want you to describe. I want you to tell the listening audience what they might gain from coming live streaming to see Mamaisms. Then I'll tell you what I gained.
Well, I what I have learned, there's enough
Mm,
that goes on in the world that is confusing, that is hard, that is mean, where people are mean or anything. I generally like to bring something positive when I do something. So, and I always find that people will listen better if they're laughing than if they're
Mm,
upset
mm,
about
mm,
something. So
mm,
I like to bring stories that make people laugh. I like to have people look at something different in a different way by making them laugh, by through laughter, maybe even through tears, but they're being moved by a story. Storytelling is really such a healing proposition. When we tell our stories, we find out that we're not alone. We can tell a story to somebody and they've experienced that situation or or are currently in that circumstance or something, and then they find a strength. Well, if so and so went through that, then I can go through that. I can come out on the other side. I can come out, I'm doing better than maybe they are right now, that kind of a thing. Anything along that line. So there's stories in Mamaisms that are just funny situations that we've been in and we've seen or we've heard about or our sister or brother were in, and I'm telling the story so that they can have a little bit different twist on it, that we can look at it differently and we can maybe look at how we're teaching our children a different way, maybe consider a different way or a different approach or something like that. Those kinds of things. That's what Mamaisms is about, as well as
mm,
the opportunity to pass on to mamas that they're not alone. You know, they're not alone in what they do. They're not, I know my mom did the best she can, and I really believe that about most moms, that they would, if they could do better, they would. And that's kind of a standard for all of us. If we could do better at any moment, we would. And sometimes we catch ourselves when we've gone through the moment and thought, "Oh, wow, I wish I had done that differently." And maybe the next time we will. So it's a conglomeration of things.
mm. And that's one of the things that you exemplify. I want to first say, I have said this many times because I am the mother of two daughters that are now in their 30s. And I have said the hardest job, I believe, on earth when you're really in it. Because some people parent from the periphery,
Outskirts.
yeah, from the outskirts. But when you're really in it, it is the hardest job that there is. It can bring you the most joy and can take you into the depths of despair, to be a parent. And one of the things, there's a particular scene that I'm not going to explain, but I've heard many people, not just myself, talk about, is the way that you handle a situation with a child that often in the life of a busy parent would not be handled that way. But seeing the way that you handle it would make a parent in that same situation then stop and think and perhaps do it differently, which is exemplifying the behavior that you want to exemplify with your child. Because sometimes as a mother, particularly as a mother, you're so crazed in life, especially if you have a career and you're doing all these different things. And it's so true of most mothers these days, that you're not always conscious of being focused and
Yeah.
being one with the child,
Mm-hmm.
that you've got all this other stuff going on, but you could be.
Mm-hmm.
And you exemplify that in Mamaisms.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about moms, because you're right, a mom's job. I read something somewhere that we could not pay for
Mm.
the work that a mom does. A
Mm.
mom is generally the primary caretaker, or we'll just call it a mother figure, is the primary caretaker. She is the one who does all the cooking, the for the child or for whatever situation, or most of it. Even if we only put a portion of it, she does cooking, cleaning, homework, preparing them for school. She, dresses them. She teaches them how to do the basic stuff at home, and then she does the chauffeuring, she
Hmm.
grades the homework, she does all of
A
these
lot.
things. She's the nurse, she's the doctor, she's the counselor, she's the therapist, she's all of those things. And if you were to put a price on that, we couldn't begin to pay a mother for the amount of work that she does. So, yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a
And
lot.
and the thing that there is to realize for anything is no matter what circumstance we're in at the moment, if we have someone standing before us, is to take that time and be in the moment with the person standing before us. And
Hmm.
sometimes that's just our child. And if it's only for that 10 seconds or that 30 seconds, we have got to give them our attention, or we have got to give them enough of whatever it is they need at that moment so that they understand they can come back to us later, or they can come
Hmm.
back to us in another few moments, or which is what I had always promised myself with children, is that I would tell them the truth. And if I couldn't, I would tell them why I couldn't answer their question right then.
Mm.
Meaning I'd either go and find out the answer, or I just have to tell them, I can't tell you that. Your mom has to tell you that, or someone else has to tell you that,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Well, Mamaisms, as serious as it sounds like it is hilarious. And it is very physical. Sonia is a physical actor as well. I mean, just crazy physical. I remember the first. You may not remember this, but the first time that you performed Mamaisms, you had been sick, or you had something physically going on with you. Something was bothering you, a leg, a
Yeah.
knee, something had been bothering you, and you've been working on it, working on it, working on it. And when I saw you on stage, I could not believe it was like she either transcended what was going on in her body to be present in this, or she just healed it. Because the things that you were doing on stage blew my mind.
Well,
Do you
what's
remember that?
interesting, yeah, I can't remember exactly what was the problem, but I
Yeah, I don't either.
remember there was some problem. And
Hmm.
the thing that I've learned about that as an actor is, in the moment, nothing else matters. And in that moment,
Hmm.
if you're living the moment, that's all that you're doing. Because
Hmm.
there was the Inner City Cultural Center years and years ago that used to be in the city of Los Angeles. That was a multicultural arts center for the community, which I would love to bring back.
Hmm. Love for
I
you too.
There was they used to do um, the Ira Aldridge acting awards, and we would have these monologue contests. So people would write their monologues, and they'd come, and the community would come, and the community would vote on who would win.
Mm.
They would be professionals there that would vote too, but the first few votes, first few eliminations would be by the community, the audience. The audience would rate the people that were there. And the year I won one year, and the year that I won, I was sicker than a dog.
Mm.
And
Mm.
during the show that the presentation of our pieces, of the final show, I was laying down on the floor backstage just before I was to go on. I got up, I went on stage, I did my whole piece, I went back and laid back out on the floor. and and um and in the moment of doing the whole thing, it was fun. I had a great time. I did the whole piece. It was no big deal. But the minute I walked off stage, it was like, I got to sit down. You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Tells us the power that we have inside of us, right?
it is the power that we have
Yeah.
inside of us, that
Hmm.
when we're focused on something, when we're doing something, and it's not just me, and it's not just as an actor, because I know people who are public speakers, and there are teachers out there who have gone
Hmm.
through situations that have gotten through anyway and to present what they needed to present.
That's a lesson for life right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We could just take that right there, what you bring forth and others as actors, what you touch into.
Mm-hmm.
We could be touching into that, going through the things that we're going through right now, including an election that, people are all caught up in. Go inside yourself, touch into that.
Yeah.
What are you hearing there?
Yeah.
What's it telling you? Yeah, that's a lesson for life. So Mamaisms is an amazing piece that Sonia does. It is not her only piece, and I hope that you will be bringing a conversation about the girls online. Even if you just take a copy of what you already have done and show it, or we could have movie night and watch conversations about the girls, or a play night, because it's an amazing project as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Conversations about the girls. That's about women's breasts, just in case
the girls.
The girls that are right there.
Right
Some
in front
of us have more than others. I created that. It's interesting because when you write a piece, sometimes it's like everything else. If you're transcending, if you're just open to allow the creativity to flow, it can take over. It can take over and decide. So I was actually working on the vagina monologues at the time, and the idea was, I thought, this is a really powerful piece. The vagina monologues were powerful, but I thought the breasts, they're right out there in front of everybody's face. Everybody talks about it constantly. There are more stories about the breast. There are situations and circumstances. There isn't almost any movie or television show that doesn't make reference to some kind of situation or circumstance or funny or whatever. And so I thought, why don't we talk about this part of our body and work on healing here? And so Conversations About the Girls was born out of that. And I started writing my own stories about that. And then I interviewed women and I found, because let's face it, mine don't cover everybody's experience.
No one person does.
So I expanded, and I wanted to get the whole picture of everything. And because I didn't have any children, my first awareness that I needed to really expand was I didn't have any stories about nursing, and you can't talk about breasts without talking about nursing. So, so Conversations About the Girls covers all sorts of the stories, the good things, the not so good things, the parts that are hilarious, the parts that are touching and tender, and I just wanted to have a conversation about it, And when we were talking about it when I was putting it together, people gave me all sorts of names for it. Like, titty tails and boobs are us, or, and I just wanted it to be a little bit classier, that it wasn't just that, because we do talk about the heavier side of things. And so Conversations About the Girls, I mean, we talk about everything, nipples and cancer and getting cancer, or getting your breasts, or losing, or not getting them by the time you thought you would, or all sorts of things.
Getting them early,
really early for some people, called names, all that sort of thing. And so it was it's a wonderful piece. I loved that piece, and I was amazed at how it touched people's lives. I had women who sent me emails afterwards. I had a group of women who had come, and all of the women in their little circle had come except for one. And 3 or 4 months later, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the women in the circle said because they had seen the show, they had a better way of talking to her, a better way of communicating and supporting her. And then we have women who've had, there's various things that we don't know about breasts because ours are the only ones we've ever really may have gotten close to, unless you're someone who's on the other side of things or in a same-sex relationship. I mean, I'm not in a same-sex relationship, so I haven't played with a lot of other breasts, and hey, not that I want to or anything, but you figure you want to understand.
Yeah, you want to understand. Different people have different perspectives about, and that's what, again, the beauty of that play is that it makes you think about things that, are in there, but you really have never necessarily brought to the front because it wasn't your own experience. The thing that I love about it the most is the education that it gives to men who are in the audience to understand what women go through simply because they have this organ, this sexual part of themselves, as it's thought of, that's right out in front of everyone's face, and the things that we go through because of it, good, bad, and indifferent, Yep. So yet another beautiful piece. And what are you working on right now?
Oh, my new piece that I've started writing is called Avatar. And I'm not quite sure if that's going to remain the name of it or not, but there's, I want to write about that higher intuitive self that lives within us, that guides us, that we sometimes listen to, that if we listen to more, we would have better things happening to us in our lives. And because I can recognize certain times in my life that, oh, wow, if I had just done what I heard, because sometimes we hear it and we think, well, who's telling us to do that? Or that's strange, or why that doesn't make any sense, or something like that. And so we don't follow an inner guidance, and we should have. So it's about the inner guidance that we have, and hopefully, I can get a better picture of how I want to express that story. And it's
I know that you will, because your inner guidance will take you there.
Right. It seems to be headed towards the direction of a children's story. So that would be fun for parents too,
That's good, because children are not taught in general. In general, children are not taught about that guidance inside of them. I used to, and I know you facilitated teens also. I used to facilitate teens for many years because when my daughters were teenagers, and the one thing that I taught them is, I don't care what I say. I don't care what your parents say. I don't care what your teacher says. I don't care what anybody says. You have an inner guidance. Listen to that and follow it. I don't care what. And they knew that that was my main teaching to them. And today, now that they're in their 30s, they still come back to me and thank me for teaching them that, because no one did.
Yeah. Because
I like that one, Sonia.
Yeah, we get caught up in authority figures.
Yes.
And authority figures don't necessarily know the best for you.
No, I mean, from their own experience.
Even well, shoot, I could say even doctors, but then that's
doctors.
That's another whole story.
That's another episode. Right. I got a story about the doctors.
Yeah, we all do.
So, where time is passing. Tell us how we can, what it takes to see Mamaisms. I'm so excited. I already got my ticket, y'all.
Hey, yay.
And I want to have a watch party. I need to tell some people about it. I'd like to have my daughters see it. It's hard to hone them in. But there's something that you're going to say that would be a way that I possibly can sit them down to have them watch it. So tell us how we can see it. Well,
it's you can go to my website, SoniaJackson.com, and that's Sonia with an I, SONIA Jackson.com. And right there on the first page on the landing page is a square that says Mamaisms. You click on that, it'll take you to website to get a ticket. The tickets are $15.99 plus
Can't
whatever
beat it.
fees there are.
Can't beat it.
Yeah, especially
Mm-hmm.
since you can watch it in bed or watch
Mm-hmm.
it in, your pajamas or get some popcorn with your own glass of wine. Don't have to
There you
go
go.
anywhere.
That's probably what I'm going to do.
And the other thing is once you've gotten your ticket, you have 48 hours to watch it. So I'd love for everybody to tell all their friends in other parts of the world to come and see. New York, it's going to be airing at 9 o'clock, so it's a reasonable time. It's Sunday, November the 8th at 6 p.m. live streamed from the Whitefire Theatre.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, you'll have 2 days to
2 days.
watch it. But if you
Can you
watch
watch it only one time during those 2 days?
I don't think so. I think during those 2 days you can use the link
Watch it
again. You
multiple
should be
times.
able to
Okay, good.
use the link again.
Mm-hmm.
It will, there may be other ways later on to watch it if you don't catch it then. But if you catch it then, we'll have, you can be a part of the Q&A afterwards, which I'd love
Yes.
to hear your takes and your comments and your ideas. Because it's more of about, to me, it's more about the village
Mm.
because we are all parent figures to someone in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In whatever moment of guidance and whatever moment of love or wisdom or understanding that you need to impart or can impart, there's we're a figure to somebody. And even if we don't have kids, I think it's really important for us to be open and available to that.
You know, I've said this to you before. As a person who had children, and I was a single mother for a lot of the years of my, not all, but a lot of the years of my children's lives. It was so the women in my life who did not have children were so important to me because they stepped in. They wanted to hang out with my kids, and I was like, yes, please do. You know, they would take them to movies, they would bring them to their homes and play with them and teach them things. And it was great for my children to have the opportunity to spend time with other mother figures.
Mm-hmm.
And right now today, my oldest daughter talks about the mother figures in her life that she gained from when she was a child. And sometimes she talks to them about things that she doesn't necessarily talk to me about, or she talks to them about things in a different way from the way that she talks to me. And, that figure is important. So I urge you to go out and see. You don't have to even go out. That's the thing. To just tune in and see Mamaisms, because you will. I 100% guarantee you will enjoy it. You will gain insight from it, and you will be happy that you did. Tell them one more time. How do you get your ticket, Sonia?
It's soniajackson.com, and then just click on the box that says Mamaisms. Sonia with an
Mm-hmm.
I.
Mm-hmm. So go do that now and don't wait, because you'll go, oh my God, I forgot to get my ticket, and it'll be over. And you'll have to wait till she does it again, because I know you're going to do it again. Right?
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
And the creek don't rise.
One of my mama's mama.
Yes. Oh, and that's the other thing. You'll be so delighted when you hear these expressions. You go, oh yeah, my grandmother used to say that, or my mother used to say that, or oh my God, I said that, to my kids. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm telling you, it's going to be so much fun. I'm looking forward to it on November 8th. I will be watching, and I will be watching with other people as well. Got any final words for us, Mama?
Make sure you have on clean underwear in case you're in an accident.
Yep, I heard that one. That's so funny. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you so very much for being here. And I'm urging you, watch Mamaisms. You will be so happy that you did. This woman is delightful. Thank you for being here. We'll be seeing you soon.
All right. See ya.
Bye.